We must find out what St. Paul said so long ago, that no member can suffer without the injury of the whole body.
The clinic's mission is to promote justice through legal representation and education for our low-income neighbors as a way of demonstrating Christ's love. And the reason why we're doing it is because we want to demonstrate Jesus to people who may not have any hope. And if we miss that, then we missed everything.
There were a lot of homelessness programs happening in the community, but there wasn't a sort of coordinated effort to bring them together and to make sure that people weren't necessarily duplicating efforts. Indianapolis was the first city to really say, we can have greater impact if we aren't all working separately. It was a time when, I think people would see their services as very sort of important to have separate from other people because it was very competitive instead of collaborative. And people in our community wanted something better. Homelessness gets kind of, grouped together a lot as one population, but it's really lots of different populations.
Those who experience homelessness are from every walk of life. So we have teachers and lawyers and all different occupations. So I think some of the most damaging preconceptions are that those who are homeless are somehow different from the rest of us, that there is something that makes them less than capable of being a member of society than others who are not experiencing homelessness. Typically, we were serving women who were middle-aged who had long-term histories of addiction, and they may have been more along the lines of what you would consider the traditional homeless. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, we started to see a lot of young women, so women in their 20s and 30s with young kids who were coming in. And I think that the heroin epidemic is something that you hear a lot about in central Indiana now, and we certainly see that here at the center. And that's another one that doesn't just hit a certain demographic. We have lots of young women that we serve in our addictions recovery who came from good homes.
Homelessness isn't just about having a house. It's about legal services. It's about basic needs. It's about, treatment for substance abuse and mental health issues.
When a veteran is trying to get back on their feet and trying to get reemployed, something that's very important is the expungement of an arrest or conviction record, because that helps them get the job interview or get the job offer. And another important thing is a driver's license and being able to get to a job. And then once they're working again, knowing that those debts that they just will never be able to repay will not come back to haunt them through a wage garnishment, but that they can use the money that they're earning at their job to keep a roof over their head.
I think it's important for our community and our neighbors to understand that it could be anyone. It could be your own family member, it could be your neighbor, it could be your coworker that is a veteran who needs help. So just because it's not you who is directly impacted by this sudden event of homelessness, that you still need to be empathetic and understanding and helpful to the best that you can be.
A lot of people have the notion that homeless or homeless veterans in general are just looking for a handout. Sometimes there can be kind of the preconceived notion that, that they're lazy, that they're burnt out, which couldn't be further from the truth. A lot of times it's just they're looking for a second chance.
Most of our kids are pretty cool. They've made some poor choices. Maybe they struggle with an addiction, maybe they have a mental health issue that's going on, but most of them don't want to be homeless.
When I was younger, I was abused. I've been in foster care. I've been ignored. I dropped out of school. I used to smoke weed all day. I just messed around.
In what world is it ordinary for kids to be homeless and survive and try to get through high school on their own? You know what world it is? It's this world right here.
I think the most challenging situations have arisen when you ask yourself if you could have done something more. You know, unfortunately, we've had kids that have had successful suicides, and you wonder if you've done everything that you possibly could have done.
We're talking about 18, 19, 20 to 24-year-olds. And so a lot of them have exited foster care. A lot of them have had extremely traumatic childhoods. Many of them need to be reparented, honestly, and just don't know some of the basic things that young people typically would have been taught as they're transitioning into adulthood.
What's challenging is it's not easy to explain to someone why their mom and dad rejected them. It's not easy to say, how come my parents did this to me, or my dad raped me, or those are those challenging, because things are not easy in the midst of that. It's not clean, it's not simple.
The mission of Shepherd is to break the cycle of generational poverty, and generational poverty is really defined when you 3 generations of people, you know, grandparents, parents, children, have lived in poverty.
These are people that don't have the support mechanisms that many of us are lucky enough to have. If we lost a job, we frequently have money in our accounts to survive. We have family members that we could borrow from. We have friends that wouldn't let us go hungry. But many of these people don't. I mean, their families and their friends are struggling every day. They don't have that extra to help them out.
And being self-sufficient takes on many different forms. You know, we don't want everybody growing up out of generational poverty to be this cookie-cutter middle-class American family, but you can really change people's lives, and where they're still living 3 blocks away from where they grew up as a child in poverty, but they're in no way poor.
Many of the things that I've experienced, spiritual growth, transformation, have been because of the clients that I thought I was serving. And so I think if there's one thing to know, it's that don't think of the poor as a conceptual category, but rather think of your interaction with people that are experiencing poverty as an opportunity. An opportunity both for you to minister, to help, to use the power and resources that you've been given to assist them, but also an opportunity to be helped. Because it was Christ who said, "Blessed are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And I think we have so much to learn from that.
It's my prayer that we might hear the Master's voice ringing in our ears. I was hungry, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. Inasmuch as you've done it unto one of the least of these, my brothers, you have done it to me.